Hi everybody, it's Ashley from STEMforged. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Today we are going to be working on our boss in Blocksmith. So I'm going to show you how to do two things. The first one being we're going to put a spawner on our boss that basically spawns whatever projectile you'd like that fits your game. And secondly, we are going to put a trigger on our boss that's going to move around. We're going to work on navigation and how to make him chase you when you get into a certain radius of the boss. So that's what we're going to do. Alright, so when you get into Blocksmith, you'll see a screen like this. And we're just going to go ahead and click on blank because we don't really need to do anything else. So when you come into Blocksmith, this is what you see. I'm going to go ahead and pull in a model that I have already built before, which is my cheeseburger. So when I pull him in, I'm going to make a boss out of a cheeseburger boss. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is use these white transform boxes and hold down the shift key. And that's how I'm going to scale him from all sides at the same time. If I don't hold the shift key and just do one side, it stretches him rather than transforming the whole thing equally. I'm going to bring him up with using that blue arrow. That'll just bring him up the x-axis. Okay, here's my cheeseburger. Pretty cool, huh? And I built all of this just using these shapes. So right now he's just a cheeseburger. He doesn't have any animations or events on him. So what I'm going to do is go into cheeseburger, the group, and I'm going to edit this group because I want it to have an animation on it. So as you can see, here's all the shapes that I used to build this. There's no other groups in here. I didn't rename it super well, so we're going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to just select all of this top bun, which has all of these capsules that I use as sesame seeds, and I'm going to group them together and just call it top bun. And then we'll do the same thing with some of these other shapes. These are just single shapes, so I don't have to group them. This bottom half sphere can be called bottom bun. Great. This is the meat. This is the tomato. Oops. Tomato. And this octagon is our lettuce. All right, so now we have all of these renamed in our hierarchy over here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to animate him. So I'm going to select my top bun. I'm going to go to the animations tab on the right and add a new animation. And I want it to go chomp, chomp, chomp kind of. So I'm just going to lift this up so it looks like it's chomping. Great. And I'm going to put play at start, original position. Those are all what we want it to be. And then I'm going to go loop forward. I'm going to make this like 3/4 of a second. So it's a little fast. And I want it to do, let's try a couple different ones. Let's see what ease in and out looks like. Let's test it. Play scene. Not loving that. So let's go back to our cheeseburger top bun. Instead of ease in and ease out, let's use bounce. Chomp, 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 chomp. Good. That's more like what I was looking for. A chomping. All right, so next I'm going to go in and select my bottom bun. Here it is. And I'm going to add an animation on that one too. So I just want to bring this down slightly. All right. And we're going to do the exact same thing. So this is loop forward, or we did loop back and forth. And then we made this 3/4 of a second. And we did bounce. So if we take a look at that. Jump. Good. And I want the toppings to do kind of the same thing. So we're just going to really quick repeat that with all the other stuff. All right. All right, and now that we've got all of those individual pieces animated, let's see what it looks like. Nice. I love it. It's like growing. All right, great. So the next thing that I want to do is I'm going to keep going. Let's make sure that he can move around. So I'm going to click on the whole group and we're going to go to add a component right here and add a navigation. So as you can see, it says navigation 1, navigation idle. I'm going to change that idle to just walk around. And this is all the same. We do want it to say play at start. So let's look at this. Nice. All right. So as it's looking, or as we're looking at it, it's just walking around and doing its thing. Perfect. But what I want it to do is chase me. So I'm going to go back into navigation and I'm going to add another component, add another navigation. Navigation 2 is going to be approach player. And we do not want this to play at start, but we do want it to go a little bit faster. So I'm going to put a 1 here. Awesome. But right now we have to have a way to switch the navigation. So we're going to actually put a trigger on this group. And so when the player enters the trigger, it's going to use that event to now chase. The cheeseburger will be chasing. So let's go to edit group. We're going to go just to the whole group and put a trigger around it. So let's go special and add a big trigger. So, that might be a little too big. You do want it to be pretty big. And I'll kind of show you why. But, you know when you're in a game and you're kind of trying to be stealthy? And you kind of have to go like around him, around whatever it is so that it doesn't get you. That's basically what I would like to happen here. So if I play a game and I see my cheeseburger off in the distance, I want to be able to kind of sneak around, and if I get too close, he'll start chasing me, which is a really common game mechanic, and that's what we're going to do. So let's start with this. I'm pretty happy with that, and we can always adjust it later if we want to. So on this trigger, make sure you have it selected. We're going to go to events, and we're going to say on entered by object and is really important, and target is player. Great. So on entered by object and target is player. Then we want to say parent, because right now myself would be the trigger and parent would be this top thing. So it would be the overall group, because how the hierarchy works is within this group there are all the other things, and those are actually called the children, and the group that those are all in is going to be the parent. And that's really common language in coding, so you can use that in a lot of other languages as well. So we have on entered by object and target is player. This is also really important because if there's like, another like bad guy in your game is also walking around, you don't want him to chase that bad guy. You want to make sure that it's just the player that is getting chased here. Then parent. And if you see in our drop-down menu, there's nothing that says change navigation. There's nothing that says chase. There's nothing that says attack. So we're actually going to have to code that in ourselves. And we're going to do that by using global messages. Let's just call it chase, since that's what we've been using anyways. But right now, this isn't going to do anything because Blocksmith doesn't know what chase is. So we've also got to set an event that's called chase. So we're going to go back to our cheeseburger, just the whole group, and we're going to do an event that says on chase. So now we're calling that back. Then navigation 2, because that's our approach player navigation start. Should we test it? Let's test it. I want to make sure that I'm not already in the trigger. Let's move him. Okay. All right, walking around, not doing a whole lot, living his best life. Let's go ahead and try to enter that trigger box and see what happens. All right, now I'm in the trigger box and you can see he's moving a little faster now and he's following me. So if I go this way, he's still following me. Oh no! We don't have any hit points on right now, so if he does hit me, it's not going to do anything other than now I'm inside him. Oh, and we broke it, and I fell off the map. This is fun. All right, so let's go ahead and keep going. So that worked great. We love that. But, like, let's make it a little more exciting. So obviously most bosses have some sort of projectile that they're going to shoot out. That's going to it's because they're pretty hard to fight. So let's go back in here. I'm going to show you one more thing before we go today. So I'm going to edit the group of this cheeseburger. And we're going to add spawners. Pretty exciting. Okay, let me get my visual right here. So down here in Special, we have this spawner tab. And I want this guy to face forward. So I'm going to turn it 90 degrees. And I'm going to put it, I'm going to put it in the cheeseburger, like right here. And I want him to shoot out pickles. So I don't have a pickle built. Let's build that. Let's go to shapes. I really like using these low poly spheres for pretty much everything. I'm going to squish it down to probably like that. And I'm going to turn it to face. Well, that makes sense. We'll just leave it like that. And then I'm going to go into pick material, and let's find something that's kind of pickly. There's obviously not going to be a pickle texture in Blocksmith, although I wish that there was. I feel like that could come in handy for something, right? And we're going to go to, let's try finding something in cloth and skin that maybe looks good. So there's obviously lots to choose from. Any of these could look good. Like if you go to rope worn, you can kind of see how this would kind of look with that texture. That's not a bad one. But I think I'm going to go with, let's try snake skin. Yeah. And then I want to find kind of more of a greenish yellow color, like that. There. That looks pickly. I could put more detail in it, but I'm not going to right now. So now I have a pickle. I'm going to go back to my spawner. I'm just going to choose an object. This is in the object tab. And I'm going to choose pickle. Great. Show. But look how tiny that pickle looks. So let's go ahead and make this pickle much bigger. All right. Maybe that will work. Might be too big. Let's find out. Whoa. Spawner, show object. That is the perfect size pickle, I think. I don't know. Is it? Maybe it should be a little bit bigger. Maybe like that. Now, is that too big? No, I think that's perfect, actually. Great. So now we want to go into events. So we have the spawner selected. We're going to go to events. And we want to say on periodic interval. So this is going to mean that every time this number happens, so this amount of seconds, a pickle is going to get shot out. So let's go on periodic interval, and here's where you put your number. So I'm going to put 2 because I want it to be every 2 seconds on periodic interval 2. Then myself, because it's the spawner that we have selected, spawn object. And now we can kind of choose the launch power. So it's going in a straight line right now because I don't have gravity selected. It's kind of like when you shoot something in space and it'll just go forever. 2, 3, 5 is really good, but we want to apply gravity, so let's go back and look at that. Great. Much better. Maybe a little lower. Maybe just 2. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, great. So now what I want to do is I'm actually just going to copy and paste this spawner. I'm just going to replicate it and move it over onto the other side too. R. Onto the other side. It wants me to just double check that my events and my animations are still going to work. Here, the pickle's still there. The event is also still there. But I'm going to change this one to 3 so that it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, nothing on 5, 2 on 6. So it's kind of going to be a little bit more random. Let's see. There is a funny thing with the navigation in Blocksmith where you actually have to flip this around for it to shoot straight, for it to navigate straight. So I'm just going to flip that around and then we're going to test it. This should be the last thing that we need to do. Okay. All right. There's our Pickles. He's just walking around, shooting pickles, living his life. Let's enter the trigger box. Oh, okay, so now you can see he's shooting them at me. There's no hit points on them right now. That's something that we can do in another video if you guys want, to where I can actually like respawn if one of these pickles hits me. But yeah, that's the beginning of some really, really cool mechanics for your boss. And I hope you learned a lot. So just to review, we went over spawners and how to make them spawn. We also went over how to make them spawn over periodic intervals. We did trigger boxes and navigation, which is super helpful. We also did global messages for that navigation, which is a more advanced topic, so that was really good. And then, yeah, a little animation on the cheeseburger, making do some cool stuff. And you got basically a boss in like 15 minutes. So if you guys want to see more videos from STEMforged, give us a like, comment down below what you want to see. Following us would be so great. Subscribe to our channel. I've posted all of the links to all of our social media down below where you can keep updated with everything we're doing. And if you're a teacher watching this, trying to learn more, thank you. We can't wait to work with you guys more. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.